That is secretsofthesire.com, youtube.com/secretsofthesire, facebook.com/secretsofthesire, twitch.tv/secretsofthesire. You get the gist at this point. Tonight's episode, Stranger Things 3, the super spoiler review with the great Emma Loggins of Fanbolt. And as always, I'm joined by my co-host extraordinaire, Mr. Hassan Godwin, the Lord of the Radio himself. Hassan, how are you doing today?
I'm great. Everything is fantastic. Life is good.
Life is what? That's not your normal intro. It's just
I know, but you told me last week to lie and stop being truthful. I actually feel
true,
so.
actually. Yeah, this is a good.
So everything is excellent.
Excellent. And Emma, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Getting ready to head out to Comic-Con here in like 36 hours, so it's all good.
I will meet you down there in a few days as well too. I will be down there from Thursday to Saturday. We'll do a little talk on Comic-Con a little bit later in the show. But to start, we are talking Stranger Things 3. This is our super spoiler review, so if you haven't seen Stranger Things 3 by this point, keep watching us anyway. Just put us on mute, give us clicks and likes, and subscribe to our YouTube channel because we really appreciate it if you do. But we're going to be doing some spoiler stuff, so let's get rolling right off the bat. Before we do, Emma, tell everyone out there who you are and what you do.
Well, I run a site called Fanbolt.com. I started it 17 years ago, which is insane.
You're 17 years old too, which is the crazy part as well too. So you were like in the womb when you started it.
I was very young. I started writing about kind of all things geek culture when I started the site actually my senior year of high school, and all things geek culture, just kind of kept going with it. It was before the days of social media. Didn't really know what I was doing, but knew I was going to school for web design and multimedia, and kind of used Fanbolt as a bunch of my projects, and then got tied in with movie studios and television networks because what I was doing was gaining some traction. And then really there was just an explosion of like convention culture, and geek culture became more mainstream, and there was just so many more opportunities that I was able to work with in that space. And here we are, 2019, still running the site, still writing about it, still doing cool conventions, and loving it.
And now you're a guest on our show. See, it all goes full circle.
Exactly.
All right. Reason we wanted to have you on, besides the fact that you're an awesome person, is you're a huge Stranger Things 3 fan. We just wrapped up watching as well too. I want to get your quick 30-second take on it, and then I want to see what Hassan's 30-second take is, and I want to see if it all lines up with what I think everyone's take on this season is. What's your 30-second take on Stranger Things 3?
You mean my theory and what I think happened at the end?
No. Good, the bad. Give me your good, the bad, and what you think of the season as a whole in 30 seconds or less.
I loved it. I think that it held up to the previous two seasons. What's really been amazing to me is that the Duffer Brothers have been able to create, now 3 really solid seasons of the same show, and that's so rare to do. Usually the second season or the third season there'll be a dramatic dip in quality, and it just won't be as good of a story. I felt like it was consistent and on par with the first 2 seasons. The characters are, of course, a little bit older, so we're getting to see a different side of them, but it felt very true to each of the characters and the journeys that we've been on with them. I loved it. I have nothing bad to say about the third season other than I needed more than 8 episodes.
I'll tell you why you're wrong in a second, Hassan.
Yeah, there's a slight problem because I didn't realize we were supposed to watch Stranger Things, so I read Needful Things by Stephen King, and that's what I thought we were going to review. So,
prepared.
I imagined that the show was good, so let's go with that. Was it awesome?
Oh, for God's sakes! This is the worst. Like, A, you're a terrible actor, and B, that was horrible. Like, you've done some really good stuff. That is not one of them. Because I know you saw it. Because I know we talked about it.
Don't embarrass me in front of our guests.
If I can't embarrass you in front of our guests, when can I?
Yeah. I really thought it was awesome. I had a slight problem the first time I watched it, where I thought that there was an actual dip in the writing quality. It was really strange. The second time I watched it, I didn't feel that way at all. I felt like I was watching the first time maybe too critical an eye.
Okay.
Because then I watched, I don't know, but I had a crazy weekend because I haven't been feeling well too. So I watched the other two seasons in the process of doing, because so I was in and out. I was working around the house, and so I had. So it actually is all the dialogue, all the sequences and stuff are on par with the other two seasons, if not like was said, improved.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought it was a really solid season. I also thought it was a little too short, which is unique for a Netflix.
For you?
Yeah, because Netflix those seasons always last way too long.
And that's the thing. That's the part I was going to tell Emma she was wrong. I actually think 8 episodes was the perfect amount of. It was really 9 if you count that last. The last episode was kind of 2 parts essentially. It's an hour and a half long, so it wasn't as if it was. They didn't skimp out. And we complained so many times about Netflix shows running. It's like, oh God, 13 episodes. There's still Kim Bauer stuff happening. Even in 13 episodes, where that's our 24 reference. If you were, I don't know if you were a fan of 24 at all.
I am familiar.
yeah, Kim Bauer getting chased by a cougar. There's always seems to be something. There was no fill in this. There was no filler in this whatsoever. And that to me was
but I mean, I think it has a lot to do with the quality of the show in and of itself. It's not that they cut, because some of these other shows shouldn't have lasted even 8 seasons. Even 8 episodes.
Sure.
Some of the other Netflix shows. So if this had lasted maybe 10 episodes or 13 episodes, I really wouldn't have minded. I think it would have been fine. There wasn't an episode 8, a notorious episode 8 like there was in season 2.
Yeah.
Even though I'm apparently one of 3 people in the United States of America who didn't mind that episode whatsoever. But
I found a few other folks that didn't mind that either. I found it took a lot of like combing. It was like in Spaceballs when they're combing the desert.
Because everybody's entitled, whiny, so and so. That's the problem. But basically, I could have used maybe 2 more episodes. I would have been fine with it.
You know what? I wouldn't have not wanted it, but it actually, like, I was watching that last episode, and I had to stop, and I did this on purpose when I started watching the show. I didn't see how many episodes there were. I didn't want to know. I just dove into the first episode, as opposed to season 2, which I didn't think was as good as season 1 or season 3. I kept going back and be like, all right, how many episodes are left? Because there was a dip in season 2 for me, and it wasn't even just the aforementioned episode with all the other psychic kids that was one of those like things. I actually thought it took about 4 episodes of season 2 to get going, and then the season 8 episode with all the other psychic kids really actually kind of like was jarring, because I felt like they finally had momentum going by that point. There was never a dip in this. Every single thing that happens in this show, in this season in Stranger Things 3, has direct relevance to where the story is going. Even little things like having Billy hitting on their mom, Mike's mom. At first you're kind of thinking like, oh, they're kind of playing this up a little bit from what they kind of started in season 2, where there was this attraction. So maybe there's gonna be this like subplot with them, and those subplots tend to kind of they're just kind of there. Again, it's kind of like filler, but no, that puts him in position. Again, this is spoilers for anybody who hasn't seen it. Puts him in position to be possessed and to become the big bad for the entire season. Every single plot line, work to push the story forward too. So I mean, 8 episodes to me, if they can be this nicely neat and compact, I'm good with it. I don't need it to be anything else than what it was. So in that regard, you're both wrong. I'm right as usual. It's just the way it goes. All right. The big to-do on thing, though, was obviously the very end of the season, which had an MCU quality to it. And it's these Stranger Things 3 theories that will change what you think about the Americans. So I found this article from Cosmo. They don't just write about wonderful sex and fashion tips, apparently. They write about Stranger Things 3 now, because It's such. Do you know? I actually saw an article that said Jeff Bezos tweeted out or Instagrammed out that he watched the entire season in one day. That's the level of phenomenon that the show has kind of taken over. But anyway, Cosmo.
Most people do this. Netflix,
I know. I watched it over a week. I mean, it took me about an episode a night.
Slacker, though. You're not a committed watcher.
No, I'm clearly. No, yeah.
Yeah. No. So then don't accuse anybody else of being phenomenal. You're just weak.
Understood.
Okay. Just checking.
Just we just want to make sure.
Making sure we've had that established as we go forward.
All right. So at the end of Stranger Things, the summer edition, a post-credit scene took us way out of Hawkins. So obviously, if we get to the last episode, Winona Ryder, Joyce, she closes her eyes, she turns the keys, bam, Hopper's gone. We fast forward, they're dealing with the death, they're dealing with the ramifications of everything that happened. Will and everyone they're moving out of Hawkins. But then the post-credit scene.
Just the Byers family. The Byers family is moving out.
Yep. Takes us all the way to snowy Kamchatka. That's really.
Why would you even try to do that with your track record?
Well,
why would you even attempt that? Why didn't you just send that to me so I could just feed it for you?
Well, what is it?
I don't know. I'm not looking at it, but I mean, if we could have set this up so that I could have just kind of bailed you out right there.
No. I like trying. I like falling flat on my face about if I can't look, I can't put Emma's name. I mean, that's an easy name to. And your name I've stopped paying attention to years ago. So I mean, there's not not.
Don't worry, I changed my name in 6 months, so it doesn't really matter.
All the way to Russia. Okay.
Yes. Well done.
Soldiers revealed. The Russians have collected not only a Demogorgon of their own, but an American citizen as well. But who is the prisoner? I'm sure you think you know. But here are some theories. Now, before we get into what the article thought, Emma, you were dying to talk about the theories about who this is at the end. What is your theory as to what happened at the end of Stranger Things 3?
Oh, I mean, I still think it's Hopper. I don't think that there's anything that you can tell me right now I mean, granted, I haven't dove into these other theories yet.
Yeah.
So we'll see how convincing they are, but I still think it's Hopper. And I also think what's kind of interesting with Hopper's placement, if you remember back to the first episode of season 3, all of the guys that got kind of annihilated by the light or the electricity or whatever you want to call it.
Sure.
They were all standing in a different place than where Hopper was staying.
Mm-hmm.
Hopper was on the other side of the light, whereas the guys were on this side of the light.
Yeah.
So I think that the placement and where he was standing is why he went through and he's in Russia. That's my theory.
All right. Hassan?
Same theory.
You give me nothing tonight. You got nothing for me.
It's the same theory. I mean, I think it's Hopper. I mean, it could be someone else, but who else? Who else in the well? What are the conspiracy theories though?
All right, so Hopper's the obvious one, and I agree with all you guys. I don't see how it's not, but there's a couple that's actually pretty interesting too, because here's the thing: Hopper might be in the Upside Down world. He might not be in Russia, though. See, if the theory that Hopper was pulled into the Upside Down is correct, then how would he have been captured by the Russians? So
it's through their portal.
Right. We're just all assuming that he went through there. Fan theory number 1: Dr. Brenner. You may know.
No, but I mean, there's a portal in Russia as well.
Right.
So he probably went through ours and then through theirs, and that's how they caught him.
Well, that's the obvious answer, but I'm going to assume that the level of writing that we've seen in this show, that they're not going to just give us the obvious answer. I actually think it could be one of these other folks, one is Dr. Brenner. You may know Dr. Brenner, Matthew Modine, as Eleven's evil dad. Though it seemed unlikely he could have survived the Demogorgon attack in Season 1, we never saw the body or an actual kill. In Stranger Things land, that pretty much means he's alive. Sure enough, I would say that if we were going to kill Brenner, as an audience member watching the show, if that was death, that would be very unsatisfying to me, Matt Duffer told IGN. He would deserve much more than that as an ending. So yes, there's a possibility of seeing him again.
That's a strong possibility.
Uh-huh.
I would give that as a strong possibility. As a red herring.
In season 2, an ex-employee of Renner's lab confirmed to Eleven that Papa is alive and out there somewhere. Russia, perhaps? That's fan theory number 1. Theory number 2, Murray. Now that the 2 most popular theories are out of the way, which is it's Hopper and it's Matthew Modine's character, what do you think about Murray, Brett Gelman? The man speaks the language, has believed Russians were after him since season 2, and is probably the smartest person they could choose to interrogate. What if they found him between the explosion and the 3-month time jump in the finale?
No, nah. They would have found some way to announce that Murray also disappeared that night. If you're talking about good writing, that's a cheat.
When we go spinning the racks later, I'm gonna divulge an Easter egg you might have missed that may lend credence to this theory. The last theory is it's the other psychic kids. Everyone's least favorite season 2 characters could be the very ones to unlock the mystery of season 4. According to a Reddit user at Skeleton Abbey, Hopper and Dr. Brenner are definitely dead. I doubt it, but let's hear them out. Even if they're alive, neither men can give the Russians what they ultimately want, a portal to the Upside Down. The Americans were only able to open a gate because of L's powers. We're shown at the beginning of season 3 that the Russians can't open a gate over there, hence coming to Hawkins. So how did they have a live Demogorgon if the gate is closed here again? They opened their own gate, and the only way that they could do that is with one of the psychics. What do we think of that now?
That's invalid because he says he or she, whoever that is, said that that Hopper and the other doctor are dead for sure, and there's no such thing as for sure. And we didn't get a body, so I mean it's a little too rigid.
I would sit there and say to rule out that they're dead. Obviously, I don't rule that they're dead, but that doesn't actually have any credence to this theory. I mean,
Hopper. I mean, it certainly doesn't have to be Hopper in Russia.
Yeah,
but I just don't think he's dead. I think if they were going to kill his character off, you would have seen him die. Because he was, he's such an integral part of the story.
Sure.
So if he just vanishes that night and everyone assumes he's dead, and then the next in season 4 they confirm he's dead with a piece of throwaway dialogue. Oh yeah, he's really dead. Oh yeah, we found his body. It was sitting in the Upside Down in a lake. That would be really cheap. That's really cheap.
Emma, would you be
unless they're in negotiations with David Harbour?
Oh, yeah. Well, that Hellboy 2 sequel might get in the way.
Yeah, maybe.
That's getting greenlit any day now. Any day now. Emma, would you be disappointed if it was as obvious as we think it is?
No, I wouldn't.
She just wants
I think the psychic kid theory would be interesting, but I feel like if you look at them calling this person the American, it all to me there's no one else like that they would say that about. If it was a kid, they would say like the kid, or they wouldn't say the American. The only person I could see them saying the American about would be Hopper.
Not even Murray? I could see Murray though.
I don't think they would call him the American.
Call him the bald American?
if it is Murray, then that kind of negates your comment that it was really well written, because they didn't even give us a red herring on that. So basically, they dropped that would mean that they dropped the character out of the plot line in order to set up a red herring about a completely different character, and that's what we used to refer to as really bad writing. And we just spent the entire first segment praising the writing in this. So I honestly just don't feel.
No. We're praising the Stranger Things 3 writing. We're praising the writing of that season. And
this is the end of Stranger Things 3. So
right. And it ended on a cliffhanger. So we're good. If it turns out that
that would be very bad writing for Stranger Things 3 if they did that at the end of Stranger Things 3. That would kind of ruin the whole this is a great writing streak that you're on.
So finding out in Stranger Things 4 that this was a red herring would ruin Stranger Things 3 for you then? I think
if you find out that Murray was one of the missing, even though they never even mentioned him as a missing person, even though he was an integral part of closing the portal this particular time, I think that's really that would be bad writing. That would be writing through omission.
No.
I don't think they would do that. I think they've obviously proved they're clever enough to keep this going at least 3 years, so I don't think they're going to get weak that way.
This is that's something about this season too. I'm glad you actually bring that up too. That I was really impressed with because I felt like season 2, they were stretching an idea that they kind of, we talk about this all the time, right? With bands and their first album or their, they pour everything into their first album and then it becomes a hit. And then it's like the record companies are like, okay, now you got to make a second album. And they're like, okay, we'll kind of do what we did last time. And they kind of, they're trying to capture the same magic in a sense. I kind of felt like season 2 was like that though, where they didn't quite have, the same kind of magic. I think this series to me, and this is going to sound weird, but for me, it actually makes sense because it's my favorite one. It is a lot like Nightmare on Elm Street. I feel like the first Nightmare on Elm Street is unbelievably scary. It's an unbelievably great movie. Introduces a really cool villain. I thought 2 was kind of like more of the same, but not necessarily in a good way. And then Dream Warriors is is actually my favorite Nightmare on Elm Street. I feel like Stranger Things 3 is the Dream Warriors of this, series. And I feel like that's a good thing. It's a good thing, actually, because they're taking a concept that they already had and kind of reinventing it a little bit and twisting it around a little bit. It didn't feel like more of the same. It felt like they put a unique twist on it. So, I don't know. That's my take on the season as a whole.
Yeah, I disagree with that, but yeah, I understand how you feel.
Well, again, I know most people would not sit there and say like Dream Warriors is their favorite Nightmare on Elm Street, but that was mine, and I felt like they were doing something kind of different with it, and so. To me, that was.
Yeah, I'm just talking about a dip in the quality of season 2 versus season 3. And, they're talking about the pacing and needing things to be moving at a at breakneck speed in order for me to continue to stay interested. I don't really have those problems, attention deficit or whatever. So
who said that?
Basically,
hey, look a bird.
Yeah. So basically, I didn't really have I did think that the momentum was broken.
Yeah.
In episode 8. Even though I didn't mind the episode, I could understand why everybody thought that the momentum was kind of. Huh?
I understand the purpose of that episode.
Yeah, but I still enjoyed it. I didn't mind it. And I think the pacing thing. I think people would feel differently about that if they were watching it one episode at a time.
Yeah.
Weekly.
Yeah.
Everybody binged it. I mean, it was a record. By the end of the 4th of July weekend, almost everyone had seen it.
Yeah.
They were talking about like people had just binged it before it, except for you. Yeah, because you're
Jeff Bezos.
You have no commitment. That's all right. That's all right. You've got other qualities, I think. Well, we're looking for them.
I can work the audio.
We'll find other qualities for you.
I could set up the video.
You're really good at name pronunciation. So,
That's my best quality, actually. That's what everyone says. Emma, who's your MVP character for the season, for Stranger Things 3? Who's your MVP of this season?
I know.
Oh, man.
I gave you the hard question.
I feel like it's always going to be Steve for me every season.
Everybody loves
the
Steve
hero
this year.
of Stranger Things. I bought a pillow at Target last weekend that says Steve on it and has his face on it. So I am a massive fan of Steve. Like I love his character. I don't have like a crush on the actor or anything. It's not like that.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Your
son does. It's okay. It's okay. You can admit it. It's okay.
I got no problem admitting that. I was actually going to make a joke that I want someone to be as happy to see me as Steve was to see Dustin in episode 2.
My dog isn't even that happy to see me.
That's my favorite. That's actually my favorite scene of the entire 3rd season. Is when Dustin shows up at the Scoops Ahoy shop and Steve loses his mind.
This is the
apparently Steve has not had any friends to talk to for over an entire month of the summer since the dance. Apparently, from the end of season 2, he hasn't had any.
I'll tell you what, Steve needs a happy ending at the end of season 4. That's all I'm saying. That guy has not
got robbed.
the best end of things here the last couple of seasons. He needs a happy ending if no one else.
He definitely got robbed.
Well, that's the funny thing too about his character, right? Like we're talking about a character that to me his whole story arc ended in season 2 to the point where I was kind of like, I almost thought they were going to kill him off, and it felt like it would have been like he was sacrificing himself to save Dustin. It felt like a good character arc. It felt like it made sense. And now after season 3, I'm actually really glad they didn't, because he was just like amazing, throughout, and he's obviously the most likable, Goonies-esque character I think out of all of them. Not my MVP though. Hassan, who's your MVP?
Steve.
Oh, really? She's just gonna agree with our guest the whole time. You just felt bad she couldn't get her microphone working. Yeah, virtual high five.
And I missed it too. I was like,
Now Emma's a big fan of our show. Emma's a big fan of our show, so she knows this already. But everyone just gangs up on me, so it's okay.
It's very easy. So people go for the low hanging fruit.
MVP for me, you can't spell America without Erica. Without Erica. To be
honest with you, Erica drove me crazy. I disliked her tremendously.
Really?
Yeah. Up until the end, kind of softened. She softened a little bit, but that I don't like. People think that sass is funny, and just being outright rude to people. Young kids being outright rude to people and insulting them is funny. I don't find that humorous. So, and I think they overdid it with her a lot. So that she was my least favorite character this season.
Least favorite? To me, she was, and the fact that she started out as kind of like a punchline, as kind of like a little, like, oh, haha, yeah, she's the bratty customer. And again, working her in, and then the reveal, obviously, that the reason she's so over the top is she's trying to kind of avoid being a nerd, essentially, the entire time. I felt like she was really... To me, she lent so much to it out of nowhere, and also kind of like, I don't know, just gave another character for us to kind of enjoy, someone who's been in the seasons before, but you never saw them really. They were there kind of as a, as opposed to kind of like introducing a brand new character. Although they do that very well in this too, with Ethan Hawke and Uma Thurman's daughter, who was amazing, in this as well too. It was kind of cool to see her blossom, Erica blossom, as this character that we kind of just saw in little bits and pieces of the previous two seasons to kind of really play such an impactful role.
I was all right without her.
You're like, meh, I know what you're talking about. I know there's people out there.
You know what? You can look at it as from another perspective. I would hang out with every one of the cast members. Like I would, the characters, not the cast members. I don't know them personally, but I know the characters. I would hang out with each and every one of these characters, and I would not hang out with Erica. I would literally stay away from Erica. She would drive me crazy. I'd be like, no, you cannot come into the clubhouse.
What's your home run scene? Home run scene, Hassan. We'll start with you. We'll give Emma time to process.
Define a home run scene.
I don't know. What's like the scene that made you go, like just gave you like that rush.
I don't know. I don't really have one. Like you mean like the big "I am your father" moment? Like,
yeah, something where something that just kind of.
I don't know. I don't. No, I don't really. I think the fireworks scene was pretty awesome.
Yeah,
they were in the mall.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think the fight between Hopper and the Terminator guy in the House of Mirrors was pretty cool. That's
my home run season right there.
And then I think them having a fight again. I like the progression of that because he clearly lost the first fight. Hopper lost the first fight, and he did a little better. He was kind of sneaky in the second one. He used the stealth, and he unfortunately the guy had a bulletproof vest on. Mm-hmm. And then the last one, you could tell that he was past being intimidated by the beating, the first beating he took, and he was just really tired of that guy. So you could see psychologically. He was a completely different fighter in the last fight than he was in the first one. So I really enjoyed the progression of that and the struggle between those two characters. Yeah. I also like that Hopper recognized him from the mayor's office because he's a cop. I like when they throw little things like that in and cops notice things that other people just do not.
Yeah.
So he recognized that guy right away.
Yeah.
And so that led us to having their part of the story kind of take off. So it was pretty solid writing.
Emma, what do you think? Home run moment.
I would definitely agree with the ones that you guys have mentioned. I definitely loved those, and I hate saying how much I enjoyed the ballad we got with Dustin and his girlfriend at the very end, because you're sitting there going, well, you maybe could have saved Hopper if you didn't force him to sing with you. With the timing there. But I did really love that scene, and that's what I love so much about this show is that, yes, it takes us back and it plays on the nostalgia of what we loved from the 80s, but there are also, and you're dealing with this horrific thing, but there's these moments of like lightness throughout that reminds you that these are still kids, and those moments blend really well into the story. And that was one of the ones where it was just kind of like a reminder that you're dealing with these kids, and it's kind of a sweet moment. So that was another one that I really enjoyed.
I thought about what you said while I was watching it also, but then I kept thinking to myself, like, Susie probably doesn't really think he's saving the world, It's like,
oh yeah, no.
And so you gotta forgive that. I mean, he's just like, "This the whole world depends on it." And I'm like, "Come on, Susie, just get in the damn car." And it's like, oh well.
I think that's the attitude you're supposed to have. It's supposed to be like attention, spike. Like you're like, I can't believe you're gonna do this right now. I think one of the things that's really successful about the show is that they never have kids. Their kids in this show never realize that they're kids. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times, you'll have adults and they'll write children, and the children will have a breaking moment where I'm just a kid, I'm not supposed to know this stuff, and I'm not. Kids do not, kids assess things, the supernatural or fantastic things way easier than adults do. Yeah. And so one of the greater dynamics in the television show is that the adults are always 3 or 4 steps behind the kids. The kids are always like kind of on the case before Hopper and Joyce and the rest of the adults in Hawkins, the oblivious adults in Hawkins, even realize that there's a problem. And I think that's one of the winning dynamics of it, is that the kids take this stuff deadly seriously, because that's what kids would do. Kids always think that they're on some kind of grand adventure, and they always think that they're saving the world, and their goals are always way higher than the reality. Yep. And the only difference in Stranger Things, which I almost called Game of Thrones, and I
caught that, and I was going to make fun of you, but
but I caught myself, so I beat you to it. The only difference in Stranger Things is that the circumstances are actually as fantastic as the kids think that there are, and so I think that's one of the dynamics that actually work, is that the kids take themselves deadly seriously. The kids don't have a lot of comedic moments. Like they have moments between themselves that we find funny, but we find them funny because we're adults and we're not kids.
Right.
But the kids themselves don't take joke breaks in order to. They don't stop. They don't cut the tension in half in order to make a joke, and that's that's a formula that is missing now, and that really was prevalent in the 80s, and that's why one of the reasons it works. So the Whedon-esque, format of break the tension with a quip. We don't see that happening here. The kids do not make joke breaks. They do not take they don't take a minute off. They're on game 100% from the moment the story has started, and that's another thing that for me personally, it makes the series exceptional. Compared to a lot of other stuff that's on television right now.
People tend to say like, "Oh, it's reveling in the '80s nostalgia." The thing that I actually think they revel in,
like the review you read,
right? I mean, which I actually didn't think was applicable after I saw it. I was like, no, I think everything was done really well.
And that would be me being right about the assessment of that article.
How would you know if you're right? How would you know? We didn't see it yet.
But I said that I was probably it was probably an overbearing article, and that we have to see it. The whole point was we hadn't even seen it. The article was criticizing the show for too many 80s references, but it's a period piece. It's supposed to be. There's supposed to be 80s references.
You know what it actually captures from the 80s? It actually captures the spirit of every 80s movie I think I watched when I was growing up, though. And you talk about those, the fact that like these kids are on this grand adventure, and they know, I mean, that is my childhood. Everything I was doing was a grand adventure. So,
but the article said that everything was pandering. all the nostalgic things were pandering. It was ridiculous. It was a ridiculous.
Yeah, and there was some product placement in there when he flashes like the Coca-Cola and he's got
the new Coke,
that.
But I mean, that's a cultural joke, though,
right?
Because new Coke was so poorly received, So the fact that Lucas was enjoying it and they took a moment out of all that insanity to go, are you serious now? Are you seriously drinking new Coke?
Yeah.
I have to say that season 3 product placement was probably the one thing that kind of annoyed me the most, because you didn't recognize it in the other seasons, even though I'm sure it was there to some degree. But like, it was a little over the top in season 3. Like the Coke placement,
the scene where Hopper gets out of the car holding the Burger King bag, like specifically like
Burger King bag, logo front and
that's
center.
Too much. You guys are too critical.
No, but it didn't irk me. But
I don't understand what else. What else are they supposed to do but have products from the '80s in an '80s show?
Yeah.
It's kind of, like to criticize them. I don't mean that you guys are criticizing. I'm saying just to criticize it for having items of the era in a story that takes place about in that era.
It's not
necessarily what are they supposed to do?
Having those things. Again, the new Coke thing was a joke, and I get it, so I was cool with the new Coke thing. But the Burger King thing where he just like, shh, here it is.
Yeah, but maybe you're perceiving that, Nah,
I don't think I am. I think he just put it right up against.
Yeah, I think you are. I think you are. Because you know why? Because it didn't jump out at me, and I'm the one who is the proper judge of these things.
You were sick last week. You said it. You were.
I'm still sick, and I'm of sound mind.
You were cleaning up. You were doing the laundry and clean. You weren't watching very carefully. Clearly.
I'm going to show you guys a photo that I have. So I visited this.
Is it you holding a Burger King wrapper? Because that'd be awesome.
No, it's even more awesome, and completely had no idea that this Coke thing obviously was ever going to happen, because this was 2016. Give me a second here to find it. It's really 16.
Now I want Burger King. That's unfortunate. Damn subliminal suggestions.
Me.
Oh yeah, okay.
So that was me in the basement on the Stranger Things set, going through, and I was taking pictures with the different things that they had. They had Sprite can, there was movie posters, and I was just going through and taking pictures of like all these little D&D.
Okay.
The greatest moment of my career right here. Me playing D&D with Gaten and Finn, because their moms disappeared when we were interviewing them. But my point being is that they had Coke on the set in season 1, and it was there because it was applicable to the time, and it wasn't a 5-minute span of...
Right, but 1985, New Coke was a big deal in 1985. New Coke was a seriously big gamble, because they got rid of old Coke and nobody appreciated it, and it was a huge loss for Coca-Cola. It almost bankrupted the company. So that was almost like scandal level. I remember going through that.
I think
that's when we got the Coca-Cola Classic after that.
I just think she was waiting for an opportunity to show us that photo. I think that's really what it was.
I mean, it kind of worked. It was funny when I saw that. I was like, oh my god, I took pictures with Coke like on the set in season 1. I was like, I feel like I should have gotten some sort of brand ambassadorship with that.
Now that you should have gotten. See, that's a fail on your part. You should be. I wish you could the background of your thing, and there should be Coca-Cola posters all around, and a big Coke machine.
Well, Coke never called, so that didn't happen.
We're still trying for that too. For anyone listening to us on iTunes or iHeartRadio or Google Play or any of those wonderful places, Spotify.
Wonderful, nice.
Yeah, well, wonderful. It's wonderful. See, that's the Russian accent in me. You can't actually see any of this stuff, but trust me, she had these cool photos. It was really great. All right. Last point of topic before we go to break.
Put them up on the marquee. Have her send them to you and put them up on the marquee. We
can do that. Yeah.
I can do that. Yep.
Yeah. The one character that I could have done without, and I think it's kind of run its course, is Will. I think Will has kind of Will was originally like the focal point of season 1 in terms of like what everyone else was kind of chasing after. by now, he's just a giant spider sense. Like, that's his only purpose now, is to be like, oh gosh, there's the mind flayers here. We got to go. His arc to me was the one thing I was kind of like, we could do without Will, and the show would not miss a beat, right? Like, in my mind.
But he didn't slow the show down either.
No, thank God.
Oh man.
So then why do we need to do without it?
Lot.
What's that?
Will's been through a lot, and he feels like an outcast, and like I think that's kind of part of the story that's being told.
That's the hysteria of today, where everybody wants everything to be leaner, and they're always looking for something that we can lose in order to make this whole thing, this experience smoother. And it's just, it has no bearing in reality. There's no reason. He's not. I wouldn't even get rid of Erica. I wouldn't get rid of any of those characters.
No, Erica was fantastic.
Yeah, but I didn't like her. But I still didn't want to get rid of her. I did not think that she should be gone. I just found the character annoying. But I think that was a purpose of her character, is that she could be annoying. So like, why would you be looking for things to remove from the equation to make the story better? Even especially if you already loved it. Nonsense.
I'm just sitting there saying his character was the one character that, to me, felt the most out of place. I get it. He feels out of place. Ha ha ha. There's the meta joke of it. But I feel like
why would that be a meta joke? That's part of his story.
I feel like his story has kind of been reduced to the fact that he can just, his only purpose is that he can find, is that he knows when the mind flayer is coming. Otherwise he didn't really add to this season as much as I think he possibly could have. I think everyone cared about Steve and Dustin, which rightfully so. I think everyone cared, even Mike and Eleven and Max and Lucas. They had a great bond throughout. But I'm watching it and I'm just thinking to myself, the Byers kids are kind of backseat to this entire operation here. That's all I'm saying. You disagree?
I don't think, if they were in the way, or if their storyline kind of strayed and went in a different. I'm not listening to you. Their storyline went into a different direction to the point where it actually dragged and the story kind of slowed down. Yeah. And I could kind of see that. But if they're kind of going with the flow like every other character, and they're not sticking out, then that's just nitpicking at that point.
I agree.
So stop it.
We're filling an hour-long talk show podcast. What do you want?
Yeah, but you're nitpicking.
When we come back, not only are we going to go spinning the racks, but I want to know, rank them, your rank for all 3 seasons when we come back.
Hi everyone, my name is Michael Dolce, creator of The Sire from Mike Books. The Sire is about a superhero forced by his own costume to fight evil. It's like having a spider sense, but instead of warning him of danger, it actually puts him in danger. It was first launched back in 2006 through After Hours Press, and was met with tremendous success. 6 issues and a trade paperback later, I thought The Sire's journey had reached a good stopping point. But a funny thing happened. As I continued working in comics, writing for Zenescope and co-creating Descendant for Image Comics, fans would meet me at conventions and continually ask when the next issue was coming out. Apparently, The Sire was far from done.
And that's why I'm proud to welcome you to this Kickstarter, celebrating the Volume 2 trade paperback for The Sire. Collecting issues 7 through 10 and featuring an amazing cover by Jim Calafiore of Aquaman fame, the trade is an exciting way for readers, both new and old, to get into the character. And this trade doesn't just collect old material. It's jam-packed with almost 15 pages of new material, including a brand new prologue featuring the return of fan-favorite artist Daniel Leister.
Welcome back to Secrets of the Sire. Again, we do this every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern on the Sire Studios Digital Network. But we are also brought to you by our beloved patron, new fan, Tom Osa. welcome aboard. We also have dedicated fans Einar Peterson, Craig Caruso, Matt Beyer, Omar Morales, Steve Hovecki, Brian Phillips, Stephanie Dolce, and as always, our Uber fan, Christina Dolce. Thank you all. If you'd like to support us on Patreon, go to patreon.com/Secrets of the Sire. We are joined by the awesomeness that is Emma Loggins. The best part, Emma, is I don't even need to remember your last name because I made that awful joke in San Diego last year about how you were a web girl and a code girl, and your last name was Loggin, which was amazing. But you are a geek girl. You are an entrepreneur. You are a travel nerd. You are the Excite Creative CEO and founder. You're the Fanbolt and Women's Business Daily editor. You're a film, TV lover, a foodie, a designer. I got that all off your Instagram profile. Is there anything else I left out?
I think that's pretty much it. The only other thing I would add is mother of an adorable golden doodle dog.
Very good. Where is your Instagram and where can people find you online?
It's at Emma Loggins on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and at Fanbolt on those same sites. And of course, fanbolt.com. And that's pretty much it. If you want to follow my dog, she also has her own Instagram account, Fozzie the Fan. Instagram.
We'll get your dog and my dog to share Instagram profiles. It'll be fantastic. I'll have to start. I'll start one for Rufus, the grouchy corgi, but that's not going to happen. All right. Before we get to spin the racks, I threw this out there on the interwebs. Rank 'em time. I rank Stranger Things 3 as my favorite season, followed by Stranger Things the first season, and then Stranger Things 2 kind of brings up the rear of the pack. Emma, what's your rank for the Stranger Things seasons?
Definitely season 1 is my favorite, followed by 3, followed by 2. For me, season 1 was just so good, and it had been so long since we had seen something like that season is always going to be iconic to me.
Hassan?
Season 1, but I'm not ranking them basically because it's not over yet. So
yeah, never play along. You don't play along. We're starting
because I think it hinders your ability to enjoy it when you're constantly ranking things.
Yeah, but we're done. We're done with season 3. It's over. If you have 3 seasons in front of you, but what if you like the overall thing? What if you like stories? What if you like the continuation of things? Even the slow moments. What if you like all that stuff? You know, not you in particular, but in general, if you just keep ranking moments by how exhilarating they are, and then discarding moments that are not as quick or as fast or as stimulating, then you're ultimately diminishing the entire experience as a whole. No, we're not.
Yeah, you are.
No, we're not.
Yeah.
Once again.
Sorry.
Totally.
The truth hurts. Not as bad as jumping on a bicycle without a seat, but it does hurt.
We do this every week. We go spinning the racks.
Spin the rack. Spin that rack.
1. Stranger Things 3 Easter egg you probably missed. This is off of the Collider website. When Stranger Things burst onto the scenes about 3 years ago, it immediately became a mainstream hit and quickly became one of the most watched TV series in Netflix history. Impressively, the second and third seasons not only maintained that level of quality, but raised the bar even higher. Indeed, there's a growing consensus that the third season of Stranger Things could very well be the best of the bunch. That's what I said. And having just finished binging the third season, I'm inclined to agree. This is author Yoni.
Yeah, it's part of that hysteria that I'm talking about, especially Collider. They're the captains of that industry.
Integral and entertaining side characters in season 3 is Murray Bauman, who, if you recall from season 2, is a former investigative journalist turned private investigator. Part of Bowman's character is that he's very privacy-minded, if not conspiratorial, which is why he was none too thrilled when Winona Ryder's character revealed his phone number to a third party at one point. Here's the cool part. You can actually call the number, and you'll be sent directly to Bauman's voicemail. It's a pretty darn cool and more engaging Easter eggs that we've seen in a while. If you want, try it yourself. Bowman's number is 618-625-8313. The message for those too lazy to call is as follows. Hi, you've reached the residence of Murray Bowman. Mom, if this is you, please hang up and call me between the hours of 5 and 6 p.m. as previously discussed. Okay? If this is Joyce, thank you for calling. I've been trying to reach you. I have an update. It's about, well, it's probably best if we speak in person. It's not good or bad, but it's something. If this is anyone but my mother or Joyce, well, you think you're real clever getting my number, don't you? Well, here's some breaking news to you. You're not clever. You're not special. You're just simply one of the many, many nimwits to have called here, and the closest you'll ever get to me in this pre-recorded message. So at the beep, do me a favor and hang up and never call here again. You are a parasite. Thank you and good day. Just revealed for everything.
The longest voice message ever.
Pandering. I say pandering.
But wait. If this is Joyce, I've been trying to reach you. I have an update. Could he be the American?
If he was the American, do you think he's calling from his cell?
No. That's his voice message. That's his voice message he left. He said, if Joyce, I've got an update. Conspiracy.
So he left that message before he got captured by the Russians?
Yes. That he was onto something. Getting captured by the Russians. I'm just saying.
He could be calling Joyce to tell her that Hopper is alive and in Russia.
I could be doing that too, but it's just so obvious. All right, Emma, you are going to be in San Diego Comic-Con. I'll be there as well too. This is your 11th San Diego Comic-Con. Give us an overview of what that's like for you and what, if anybody was to go out to San Diego Comic-Con, they would experience when they go out to this show.
Well, I think it's changed a lot from what it was when I started going to it. Now, honestly, for me, it's more about just the kind of overall geek culture, the cosplay, the convention floor, more so than the panels or the press rooms. I've had previous years when I've done like 35 press rooms for different shows and films. And this year, I think we're doing 5 press rooms.
Wow.
So it's also, though, I mean, when with Disney and D23, them pulling out to some degree, Marvel pulling out to some degree, it's just, and there's an event in the television world called TCA's Television Critics Association, which happens a couple of weeks after Comic-Con.
Yep.
Most big TV news is held until that event to be dropped. So it's not the kind of press media draw that it used to be. Still awesome for fans, still awesome to go for the culture and the people and just, meeting and geeking out with like your people. But other than that, it's changed so much. But it's still a blast. It's just not what it was back in the day, over a decade ago, which seems crazy. It's been long, but yeah, this year I'm doing a big thing with Walking Dead on Saturday. They're getting together a bunch of fans to take this kind of horde picture where you'll either come in cosplay as a walker or come in dressed up as, themed Walking Dead stuff. And they're going to take a really big photo that you'll be able to zoom in and find yourself in, but it'll become a part of a season 10 limited edition poster.
Cool.
And I'm going to have the link up to this on my social media in the next couple of days, but you go do it, you get a free t-shirt, you get to be a part of this picture, and it's, something cool to do 9 a.m. Saturday morning if you didn't stay out drinking too late on Friday.
Even if you did. Well, Emma,
if you did.
Thank you so much for taking some time out and enjoy San Diego. I'll try to catch up with you as well too over the next couple days. Next week, we're going to do our San Diego Comic-Con reaction episode. We've got Victoria Bennett, aka Bevan, is going to be joining us in studio live to give her recap as well too. So, see you then.
Secrets of the Sire.